You are now about to go on a generic side quest.
Hello and welcome to our second episode, the sequel to our first episode, the generic side quest, generic audio podcast,
Generic transmission.
Generic transmission, that's what we're calling it. I am here with Amriel.
What up?
And I am your host, Ricky the Leaf, aka 8-Bit to the Future, aka Drake Quintel, aka Hey You in the Bushes. We are here to talk about we are here to talk about everything gaming of roughly the past week and a half? I'd say since the last time we did this. And really the past 2 days it's been a lot of news and a lot of cool stuff that has come out in the gaming world. And E3 is coming up.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's always a big thing, right?
About 2 weeks now?
No. A week and a half, really.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's coming
June
up.
9th, because we're basically in June.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started. What have you been up to this week in the world of gaming?
Honestly, not much. Just my daily Pokemon going. They have this new Sleepy Snorlax, but we'll get into that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
I have put down Mario Galaxy 2 and
Good
Worlds.
choice.
3D World. I put down basically everything. I haven't been playing much this week. Like I said in the first podcast, I am like a casual gamer now. I know my gaming stuff, but when it comes to playing, I kind of have to make time for that, you know?
Fair enough. I don't know if I guess it's casual in terms of the amount of time you play.
Yeah.
But it's not casual in terms of your knowledge and following the industry and everything.
Right. Oh yeah, that stuff still fascinates me.
Okay.
How
Because
about
then
you?
we would have to kick you off the
The
podcast.
What have you been up to? I know you've been busy.
Yes, I have been. I finally finished Detroit Become Human. I got the platinum in that, and it was quite disappointing.
I like Detroit Become Human because there's a few branching paths that you could take.
That's the coolest part of the game. They give you a flow chart at the end of every scene, and it shows you what decision
Affected what?
Yeah, what outcome you got, basically, which is a lot more in depth than any of their other games. Like Heavy Rain had this illusion that if you did this, the character might die, but there was very few times you could actually die. But in this one, most of the characters can die in almost every scene, which was actually really cool. I like, but the actual characters I found boring. The story, the story was cool, the concept was cool, but the dialogue was just so
a bit cheese and forced.
Yeah, like every decision is a life or death decision. The way they make it,
That's
you have
cool,
to
though.
choose
That's
this
cool.
or this, but that doesn't happen in real life. That's what I had a problem with. But it was so
But you
cool.
platinumed it.
I got the platinum, which was also quite boring to get because you had to go back and replay scenes.
Certain branches.
It was cool to see some stuff you didn't see the first time through, and like certain characters died at different spots, which was cool.
Yeah.
But overall, I'd probably give it like a 7.8. Too much Android. But then after that, I was supposed to go through my backlog and play some Spyro Trilogy.
Yeah.
But instead of that, I found Team Sonic Racing, which came out last week. I found it on sale on Amazon. A price match at Best Buy for $39 here in Canada.
Yeah.
Quite a deal.
I guess. It would have dropped to lower in a couple of weeks.
It probably will be $20 by next week. But I just wanted to see, since Team Sonic Racing is really the first AAA, I would say AAA kart racing game since Mario Kart 8. There hasn't really been... There's been...
I guess that's fair to say, but like kart racers aren't really
in
right now. So.
No, they're not. But the funny thing is, within a month of each other, we're getting this, and then we're getting Crash Team Racing on June 21st.
I wouldn't call that a AAA kart racing game.
Crash Team Racing is what I'm really looking forward to. But I wanted to see if anything can live up to Mario Kart 8. And I've put about 3 or 4 hours into Team Sonic Racing. I didn't like it at first because it felt so different from Sonic.
Right.
But...
Wait, what? It felt so different from Sonic?
I meant to say than Mario. My apologies. It felt so different from Mario just because it feels more floaty. There's no connection to the Sonic brand really of characters for the most part to me.
What do you mean?
Like,
Can't you play as?
No, you play as like there's 15 characters in the game and they're all Sonic, but I mean I don't really care for those characters.
Oh,
and the
you
items.
Mean, okay, you personally.
Yeah,
okay.
and the items like you have your boost, your green shell equivalent, which is like a bomb or a laser or whatever.
I heard they do have a cool power up. It's like a wall or a bunch of walls.
Oh yeah. So it works as a blue shell basically. Oh. So what happens is it sends rock columns in front of first place. But the thing is, it stays there until they're destroyed. So the first person going through has so many. Right. If you avoid it, it's good. But most of the time, people are going to hit it. So by the time the person that sent it, by the time they sent it,
so they're like speed bumps.
They're like speed bumps, which is a much better blue shell, to be honest.
Yeah, because then it takes skill to maneuver.
Exactly. Single player, at least it's cool that they have a single player with a bunch of different modes. But I'm liking it so far. I've only done 1 or 2 online races. And it took a while to connect, which is kind of scary in the first week. But it was pretty cool. But lots of gaming. And something I did not get a lot of this week, or any week to be honest, is sleep. But that's going to bring us into Pokemon sleep.
Oh boy.
Which is the big topic for this week. This is the next hour is going to be about Pokemon sleep.
So basically the Pokemon Direct.
Yes, the Pokemon Conference 2019 conference aired yesterday from Japan.
Which it was a weird one.
It was very weird. I had mixed expectations going in, and I left with mixed feelings going out.
Going in, you had mixed feelings. You said.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Because we are getting a Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct next week, which is confirmed. So I knew that we weren't really going to see much in terms of games. I thought maybe we'd get like one spin-off or something.
Right.
And we actually got more than one spin-off. We actually got a lot in terms of apps or games.
Not the spin-off that everybody wanted.
That's the thing. So basically, let's go through some of the things that were announced at this conference. We had... at the beginning, the first 10 minutes was a lot of fluff. They talked about the Detective Pikachu movie.
Yeah, it was just them, like, their accolades.
Yeah, like the Pokemon Center that's opening...
Singapore? No.
There was one that opened in Singapore, but there's another one in a part of Tokyo... not Tokyo, but in Japan. In a new shopping center, and it's going to have, like, a big Mewtwo and everything.
Right.
Pretty cool. I probably won't get to visit it for many years if it's even there when I visit Japan.
Yeah, I probably will.
So they went through all that. They talked about Detective Pikachu, the movie, and then they also spoke that we're getting a sequel to Detective Pikachu on the Switch.
Yeah, and you know it was coming because it was a cliffhanger that left off on the 3DS.
True, but I actually thought we were just going to get a port of the 3DS game.
Nah, that would be a waste of time. I mean, you still might, but I think that would be a waste of time.
This definitely will make more money this way by just doing it as a straight up sequel. So that was cool. That was actually a prediction I had going into it, and that was probably the only thing I was able to predict correctly going into this. Another thing they mentioned was Pokemon Home. And do you want to talk about Pokemon Home?
Yeah, I'll talk about Pokemon Home. There's not much to talk about. It's basically Pokemon Bank from a few years ago. It's just updated now. They're going cloud-based, but this time you can add your Pokemon Go Pokemon to it, and obviously it'll connect to the new games. It's basic,
and the 3DS games as well.
And the so everything. Yeah, exactly like Pokemon Bank. They didn't mention any pricing. We think there will be pricing because Pokemon Bank had a pricing option.
Yeah.
To get more storage. It's good, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it either. I mean, it's a little bit better than Pokemon Bank in terms of they're making it seem like we can interact with these Pokemon. They're saying it's all going to this one central place.
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to be similar to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee edition. Like when you transfer your Go Pokemon, you can go into a field and interact with them.
Right.
Because they say they will be introducing trading online.
True. With friends and strangers.
Yes, which is something Nintendo really should focus on more using friends online.
Using friends online. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it seems cool. They didn't show anything like in terms of gameplay. I guess you could even call it gameplay. They didn't show any screenshots, just a logo, basically.
A lot of logos.
Yeah, and like a PowerPoint presentation of play with friends, play with people online, stuff like that. Which was basically this whole conference, I would say, for the most part.
Yep. Do you think, I can't remember what they said with Pokemon Bank, but were you able to save your red and blue Pokemon, or no? That's still impossible.
I don't know, to be honest.
Because I know you could switch to the GBA versions, and the GBA versions could switch to the DS versions, because the original DS had the GBA port.
Yeah.
And then the DS ones, obviously, to 3DS, and then Pokemon Bank. I don't know.
I'm going to say no, but remember how they did a digital re-release of them on the eShops?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some...
Same.
It's not the same, but we'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Next, and probably, I guess, the biggest announcement, just because they probably spent the most time on this, was Pokemon Sleep.
You think the biggest?
Amount of time, yeah, because they spoke about Pokemon Sleep as the device.
Yeah.
That it's going to be a separate app, and then it's also being incorporated with Pokemon Go.
So different company. Niantic isn't making the Pokemon Sleep app. It's a different company.
Correct.
It's the same people who made Magikarp
Jump.
or Jump. Yeah, sorry. Which is weird because that game was the most simplistic. You just tap a.
Yep.
It was weird. So they're heading a brand new Pokemon spin-off game. And yeah, it is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, their tagline is they want to make sleeping entertainment.
Just like
turn sleep into entertainment.
Just like how they made walking into entertainment.
Yeah, they actually had a little trailer, not of gameplay again, but basically just people walking around the world, and then they had a counter, which I'm assuming was a counter of how many kilometers people have walked in Pokemon Go so far.
Yeah. Yeah, that kept on going up.
It kept on going up, and then all of a sudden it switched to someone sleeping, and there was a new device beside the person, which looked like a flat, like Pokemon Go Plus.
Right.
And then a new counter started, which was, I think, minutes or hours. So they were talking about sleep, like the amount of time you sleep. And yeah, they just pretty much covered the fact that, I don't know. They didn't really talk about it. I mean, what's his name? James Hankey? John Hankey?
Hankey.
Yeah, the CEO of Niantic.
Mr. Hankey.
Mr. Hankey came out and also spoke about that he's excited for it, and they will have more to talk about, I think, in 2020. But probably the best news is Sleeping Snorlax is now available for about a week in Pokemon Go.
So I'm surprised you're talking about that as the biggest news. I know that was a joke, the best news. I was really interested in Pokemon Masters.
That was probably the most game.
Even though it's a gacha game and it's going to make a lot of whales out of people.
Yeah, it looks cool though. Pokemon Masters basically is going to incorporate all previous Pokemon gym leaders, trainers, Indigo Plateau Masters from
Elite
Four from the different games, and I guess the anime, because Brock, Misty seemed to be in it as well.
No, but Brock and Misty were in the game.
That's true, and I think it was Blue. Gary wasn't referred to as Gary.
Yeah.
The graphics have the cel-shaded type of style, and it seems to be turn-based like the RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be one of those things that it's going to have some sort of refill to get into another battle, and
because
then you can
DNA is making it. No?
Yeah, DNA, who makes most of Nintendo's mobile offerings.
But hey, at least you could play it with one hand.
That's true. I mean, it does seem like the coolest thing. As soon as you hear mobile, you get a little iffy.
Yeah.
But it is cool and definitely looks neat. Back to the Pokemon Sleep, they did introduce a new device called the Pokemon Go Plus Plus. It is more disc-shaped. It looks like a Pokeball, but it's flatter. It's going to track your sleep. I don't know what else it's going to do. I don't know if it has the same features as a Pokemon Go.
I think it does have the same features as a Pokemon Plus, like the Pokeball, except I don't think you can
use it as a controller.
Yeah.
Okay. And also, it doesn't seem like it's easily clippable. Like, the original
It
Pokemon
it
Plus.
doesn't look like it has clips, but it says you will be able to get notifications through vibration and LED lights.
Okay. And then just like we said, there was some non-gaming stuff. They spoke about these shirts that were only offered in Japan. And
I think people at the conference got some shirts.
Yeah, people leaving, I think they mentioned it.
What was the company? Do you remember?
I don't know, to be honest.
I'll look this up.
And
Some of the shirts look cool.
No, the designs are very minimalistic, but very cool. But I heard they're very pricey as well. I didn't actually look into the price, but I think but the Pokemon company's actual tweet mentioned that they're expensive. So I don't know if that was like a translation, like error or something, because it's weird to mention they're expensive. But
right.
One more thing they did mention is NetEase, which is partnering with the Pokemon company to bring Pokemon Quest over to China. That might not seem like a big deal because it's Pokemon Quest.
No, but entering into the Chinese market.
Exactly, is a big deal because Nintendo's doing that actually with Tencent to try to get the Switch over there in China. And they said there was pre-registrations for Pokemon Quest was at 1.7 million people. They're going to be so disappointed when that comes out. But I think that's enough Pokemon for now. Or is it enough Pokemon? Should we talk about Sword and Shield?
You want to do predictions?
Let's get the Pokemon out of the way.
Okay.
Let's talk. What are you expecting to see next week, Wednesday, June the 5th, for the Pokemon Sword and Shield Direct, which is roughly 15 minutes, is what they said.
So, my first one is a no-brainer. I actually don't like when they do this because I like the surprise in Pokemon. But we're going to see the final evolutions of the starters.
Yeah, we'll see all three of each starter.
I personally don't like when they do that. I like being surprised, like, oh man, my Charmander has wings now.
It's true, but even if they didn't reveal it, someone's going to leak it sooner or later, right?
That's true.
Yeah, we're going to see that. We're probably going to see the legendaries for Sword and for Shield.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
We'll see more, maybe something along the lines of how the gyms are going to work, because I know they're called, isn't it?
I'm not going to say gyms. I'm going to say it's going to be another gimmick like a gym. So, like, you know how Gen 4, I think it was Gen 4, introduced, like, those weird contests where you have to make up your Pokemon, like, you put, like, clothing on them. And
Okay,
pageant,
like a beauty pageant thing, yeah.
I think this will be a different thing. I think this might be, like, physical attributes, like, who could run the fastest or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're still going to, I think they'll still have something traditional in there, too. Because
I don't think they'll get rid of the gyms. I think this will just be an addition.
Oh, in addition, because I know Sun and Moon, they were called challenges, weren't they?
Yeah.
They weren't just like gym leaders. They were the island challenges, I believe. I don't know. I didn't actually finish Sun and Moon, but I remember hearing that it was a little bit different. Yeah, we're gonna see a few Pokemon they will reveal, or if they bring more Alolan or different types up for this part of this region.
Yeah, the Galar region, I believe it's called.
Yeah. Which is based basically on the UK. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty standard stuff. I'm not expecting anything out of the ordinary. You're probably going to hear a mention of Pokemon Home again and how it can connect to it. And possibly hear something about the new Go Plus Plus and how it can connect to the game. They're all about monetizing all these accessories. We might even see a bundle.
So speaking of accessories and kind of tying back into the shirt topic we were talking about, the shirts are actually powered by Original Stitch. That's the company.
Which I've never heard of.
They have a shirt for all original 151 Pokemon.
That's amazing.
There is a tie-in to Sword and Shield. I just remembered. They held a competition for someone to design a Pokemon shirt. And that design would be in Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh. Now, that you could use for your character?
Yeah. Now, there were two controversies because the first person they chose plagiarized their shirt design. The second person they chose plagiarized their shirt design. So now the contest is over. There won't be any shirts. But you can still buy your real shirts.
No shirt this year.
But you can buy your real shirts at pokemon.co.japan/ex that original shirt.
The link will possibly be in the description below. Possibly.
The shirts actually look pretty sick.
And now they're shipping globally because before it was just in Japan.
Yeah.
Now
They're shipping to Europe and North America.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, I would want one, but if this thing ends up being like $80 to $100 for a shirt, I'm gonna pass on that.
Yeah, true.
But maybe if I'm in Japan one day, or they actually have local stores even here, which I highly doubt, because if we don't even get Pokemon centers here, I doubt we'll get these shirts sold locally here.
So it's kind of interesting with these shirts. You could actually, you don't just buy a shirt. It's like a custom shirt. You
Like
pick
the sizing and the material and stuff like
short
that.
sleeve, long sleeve, collars, patterns. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a new trend now with like
Online shirts.
customizable clothing, basically.
Yeah.
And one last thing for the prediction, I think we're gonna find the release date. Which is most
we don't
likely.
have one as yet, huh?
No, it's most likely November. I think every Pokemon game launches in November.
Yeah.
So that's not gonna be a surprise there. I'm just really happy they're having this direct before E3.
So it doesn't take up too much time.
Exactly. Now this and Super Mario Maker 2, we don't have to worry too much about like taking up much time.
Yeah.
Speaking of Super Mario Maker 2, just to briefly talk about that, it was announced that you can't play online with your friends. The friends that you have added
To your Switch.
to your Switch, you cannot play with them online. Sure, you can play with people when they're in the same room, which is...
You could actually play with strangers online.
Yeah, you can play with strangers. So Nintendo, I guess, takes a step forward and 2 steps back again. What do you think about that?
It's amazing. They managed to Nintendo up their biggest game. I'm gonna call it their biggest game.
So far, yeah. For this year, at least.
Because it's so social. It's such a social game. For as low sales as the Wii U one did, because it was on the Wii U, it tore up YouTube. Everybody was on that. People are still playing through those custom levels. And
Twitch exploded.
Yeah.
With Super Mario Maker 1.
The excitement for this was off the charts up until... I mean, it's minor. People are still going to play the game.
Yeah.
It's not huge. But it's just like, yo, why can't I play with my friends?
100%.
And I'm paying for the service. Why can't I do that?
Yeah, you're charging now for the online. Why can't you do... You offer so much in this game, and there's so much content in this game. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's again, yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's just upsetting because it's something that really didn't have to be done.
So their reasoning was they don't want people cheesing the online leaderboards. So you can get your friends to lose on purpose so your rank goes higher.
Just do casual play then with friends. Don't have like a ranked option. That's it.
Yeah.
Like it's an easy thing. You can do that with any game that has like
But it's even stupid
leaderboards.
because you can't even play co-op with your friends.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what I mean?
wouldn't have a thing anyways,
Exactly.
right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I saw my pre-order. I will still be getting it.
Everybody will still get it.
Oh yeah. And I heard the stylus is not actually coming to North America. The stylus will only be available in Japan and Europe.
Yeah.
Which really sucks because that game should come with the stylus, especially in handheld mode.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Usually North America gets
it. But any captive, is it captive stylus? I forget what the term is, but pretty much any stylus that with the soft type of thing should work on the screen.
Yeah.
So I mean, styli are quite cheap.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah, I get you. I get where you're coming from. It's not a big deal, but I think, it's.
It was a cool pre-order bonus too. Like I liked it, and it just makes sense for a game like that because you want people like
invested, like more invested, I suppose.
Yeah, because I watched a preview, a hands-on preview for the game, and they were saying on TV mode, it's not the best to create that way. People are used to the way it was on the Wii U when you had the gamepad, where you're creating on the gamepad and seeing it on the TV. It was actually like one of the best features for that game was the Wii U. The Wii U was actually built for that game.
Well, that game was built for the Wii U in mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is weird to give any praise to the Wii U.
No, that is a sick console.
But yeah.
Do you have anything else regarding
Super Mario Maker?
Mario Maker?
No.
I'm still really excited for the story mode. And they said there is actually a branching path in the story mode. Like your decisions are different. Like whereabouts you visit the castle that you ultimately build
Yeah.
will change up like the next courses that you do.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not. But can you end up doing all the courses?
I see that. I don't know.
I'm sure you could backtrack and probably do it. But that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Branching paths. You know what game might have branching paths or just branching weirdness?
What's that?
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Death Stranding has been, I believe it was announced early in 2016, well over 3 years ago, by Hideo Kojima himself.
It's just smeared in a bunch of controversy.
Yeah. He left Konami, or was kicked out, basically, of Konami for creative...
I have some thoughts on that.
You have some thoughts on that? We can get into that. For some creative differences and basically the budget supposedly exploding on FGS5, The Phantom Pain.
Right.
And they didn't want... They were getting sick of his, I guess, shenanigans. Or like how long he was taking to finish it.
He's a creative, right? So
yeah, and they're about making money and pachinko machines. So that was a big fallout. He created Kojima Productions, and his first announcement was Death Stranding.
Yeah.
And we got a super weird trailer back in 2016 of Norman Reedus, the actor who's pretty much looks like Norman Reedus in the game, naked in like some black sand or gray sand with some ominous like music and this weird gray sky and a naked baby and all this weird stuff that everybody's like, oh, yeah.
Kind of like a wartimey vibe.
Yeah.
And the trailers have not gotten any better since.
No, just weirder. More questions are brought up every time you watch a new trailer.
Even though like people always say like with certain properties, I have more questions than I got answers.
Yeah.
So for the first few trailers, there were no answers. There was nothing. But this latest trailer that dropped, it gave us a little bit of story insight. The most we've ever had, which I appreciated. But I'm still confused. I'm still lost.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been hyped up for this game ever since it came out because Metal Gear Solid, the original, is my favorite game. So yeah, I'm one of those people that praise Kojima as a god, even though lots of times he could seem a little pretentious. And even the way he reveals stuff sometimes.
Do you think he comes off pretentious? I don't think so. He comes off creative.
He comes off creative. Okay. Let me explain how this reveal happened for those that maybe just have seen the trailer.
Oh, true.
Earlier today, the PlayStation Twitch channel streamed the Death Stranding reveal, but basically it was a bunch of goo, like the black tar or oil on the screen.
That shows up in the video game.
That shows up in the video game trailers and in the video game, as we can see in the trailer. And it was blocking the majority of the trailer. The trailer was on a constant loop.
So the screen was black.
Yeah, the screen was black.
The trailer was playing.
Yeah. And then there was handprints that would take off more of the oil as the day went on. There was assumptions that it had to do with how many people were watching, or at a certain time it would finally be revealed. But it did seem like it was just slowly more and more of the trailer was being shown, and it was just in a constant loop until finally it was clear.
Apparently it was like 22 hours long or something.
Yeah, it was some ridiculous amount. I even had it on in the background because I was one of those people that thought, we need as many people as possible. We got to tell everybody. And I thought it was maybe a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Where he just wanted publications also to be like, hey, go here. We need as many hands to help us as possible. Because that was part of the thing where we need hands to connect or something like that. And tomorrow is in your hands. There's a big connection with future, past, and strands. So finally, trailer drops. I'm super hyped. My hype kind of died down when they revealed a trailer at the Video Games Awards show in December.
Yeah, it was a long-ass trailer.
It was the longest trailer that was just...
Didn't show anything.
No, it seemed like a big walking simulator, to be honest.
Yeah,
and the game still has that vibe.
It still looks like it. I mean, you could set up ladders, or at least a ladder. But it's pretty much... It looks like he's a delivery boy.
Yep.
Walking... a cool fact that they showed in the trailer. it's America that he's walking in, this dystopian America. Again, we got a lot of story elements, but I'm still lost. He's apparently working for the president at one point. There seems to be 4 groups of major bad guys.
Yeah.
There is maybe some combat. We saw a shooting portion.
Yeah, and it seems like there's stealth.
There's definitely stealth, and you said it reminded you of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. And even vehicles as well. He drives some sort of like motorcycle.
A motorcycle.
ATV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are game elements to it. It's not just walking.
Yeah.
There's no hood, which is cool. Well, hopefully there's no hood. All the trailers don't have any hood on it.
Yeah.
But that might...
I mean, there's a menu that pops up, I guess, when he goes through his inventory. Like when he was setting up the ladder, there was a menu that popped up, but it wasn't very intrusive or anything.
No, but that's not a hood. That's not always there. It's only when you activate the menu.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There are numbers when you're shooting. I think how much bullets you have left.
Yeah, I think it was an ammo count.
But that was it. So, I mean, you'll probably be able to turn something on or off, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would
to make it more cinematic. I mean, it's a Kojima game. I'm not surprised by that.
And Del Toro.
Yeah.
Who makes an appearance in the game, which is cool.
Dead Man. And I think there's Die Hard Man.
Yeah.
They sound like Mega Man bosses, to be honest, but not really surprised there. But the biggest reveal, or at least to me, was the fact that this game is actually coming out this year, November 8th, 2019. I honestly... There was parts of me that thought this would be a PS5 game. For how many times it's been teased and never getting a date, that we actually got a hard date that it's November 8th. I think that's crazy.
So that's 6 months?
Yeah, about 6 months. So basically Sony won E3 without having to show up to E3 this year.
Oh yeah, they're not even
even there. And they should have dropped this, I think, like when E3 started and just drew all the attention away from E3.
What do you think about the timing of this? Isn't it kind of,
I don't know. There's lots of companies. Look at Nintendo with Super Mario Maker, Pokemon.
True.
And Call of Duty is going to announce their new title tomorrow before E3.
Yeah.
So it just seems like, I don't know. It's a little bit strange.
With the Call of Duty, did they not already announce?
No, there was rumors, I think, that it was going to be...
Treyarch.
Modern, yeah, and it was another Modern Warfare,
and it's literally called Modern Warfare. Yeah, all these naming conventions.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out tomorrow for sure on Call of Duty. But that's all we're gonna talk about Call of Duty, unless you want to talk about anything else with that.
Nah, I'm not really a fan.
No, I mean, I did kind of want to try out their Battle Royale mode, which I actually heard good things about.
What, the zombies?
No. The Battle Royale mode? I don't think. I think it's just a Battle Royale. It's not 100 people. Blackout, I think, is what it's called.
Right.
I heard good things, but I'm just not a huge fan of first-person shooters. I haven't even tried Apex Legends, and I hear that's amazing. So,
yeah, you should try out Anthem, bro.
Yeah, that's Sharif always tries to get me to play that, but
Sharif is playing Anthem.
Yeah, Sharif plays some bad games. Shout out to our audio producer. Sharif,
yeah.
That's right. I don't think he's our audio producer, but one day when we have
we'll hire him on as an intern.
Exactly, and when we have sponsors for the show. I think Amazon actually gives you 2 free audiobooks right now if you sign up, but it has nothing to do with this podcast.
It could.
Let's move on. I don't really have a transition to this, but let's move on to it quickly. The Sonic movie. You gotta move fast.
I get it, because he's fast.
That's right, but he's not so fast, because news came out that the movie is delayed until 2020.
This was inevitable. It had to happen.
Yeah, I'm surprised they actually didn't announce this at the time the director said, hey, we heard your feedback. We're going to change it. We're going to delay the movie.
Yeah.
Because that happened, 2 or 3 weeks ago? The reveal trailer of Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which was originally supposed to come out in November.
Yeah.
And now it's being pushed to Valentine's Day 2020. So that's going to be a great date movie. It actually might do better in the start of the year when it's a little bit quieter for movies anyways. It won't be during the summer blockbuster area. It won't be during the holiday rush. I'm still not hyped for the movie, but
I mean, I've been seeing a lot of mods. People have inserted cartoon Sonic.
Yeah.
And that looks amazing. They should have just hired that person, whoever did that.
Maybe.
But I understand the delay because now they have to redo all of their merchandising. They have to redo all the posters. You know, there's probably a tie-in game. Let's be honest. And so they'll have to do everything all over again. Jim Carrey, they probably won't change anything for Jim.
No.
He looks stellar.
He looks like the best part of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah. It's still gonna be corny. It's still gonna be for kids. It's still a Sonic movie, so don't have your high expectations.
Still a solid 40 on Metacritic.
Word.
But unfortunately, I'm probably still gonna go to theaters to watch it. I won't wait until it hits Netflix. Yeah, I probably will. Even though earlier on I just said I have no affinity for Sonic characters, but who knows? Who knows? I probably will go watch it because I'm a sucker like that. But you know what I'm also a sucker for?
What?
Kickstarters.
Are you?
That's right.
Have you backed any?
Actually, I almost backed one. I never have backed any,
one?
so I guess I'm not.
Which one?
The Ouya back in the day.
Okay.
I almost did it.
My favorite system.
And that's right. If for all you listeners, an Easter egg.
Let's skip over this piece of news. It's so tragic.
The Ouya is gonna officially die on June the 25th, I believe. Near the end of June. Support for the system will completely cease. Any credit you have on the Ouya store, I don't know what it's called, will be gone.
I'll tell you some, Ricky the Leaf. Yeah. Great ideas never die. The Ouya will live on in your hearts.
Oh man, I bought one on day one because I didn't back them, and then I'm like, I still wanted to get that machine for $100.
Yeah.
An Android phone basically for your TV, or sorry, not an Android system.
Android
basically.
box.
Yeah, I played those games. I think the bigger surprise here is that this thing actually had support until now. I thought it was dead already.
I think the biggest... Yeah, so like when that streaming company said, we will be stopping our...
Razer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will be stopping our Ouya services. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I got that email. I'm like, what? You guys are still supporting this? Mine is still collecting dust there. I haven't turned that on since probably the first week where I downloaded... like an emulator, an NES emulator to try it out, which was cool. But
you're missing out, bro. You're missing out.
Yeah, well, rest in peace, Ouya.
Rest in peace.
It just came at the wrong time. Or
period.
It shouldn't have existed. That's right. But another console that might succeed where the Ouya failed. Well, though, I don't know if
this is a spiritual successor for sure.
Oh, I don't know, because the Ouya's considered a micro console. Now, this is more a handheld or, I guess, a desk toy.
No,
like a premium console. Desk toy. Okay, a handheld console, we'll say, just because it's a gaming podcast. We don't talk about toys here. We're men. What we are talking about is the Playdate handheld video game system.
It looks so good.
By Panic is the name of the company. If you haven't heard of Panic...
You probably have. It's the same people who published Firewatch.
Yeah, and they're actually publishing Untitled Goose Game, which is the
actual... hilarious.
And is the actual name of the game, Untitled Goose Game.
That's coming out for the Switch.
Yep. So it's this cool little yellow handheld with a crank.
It kind of reminds me of a Game Boy Pocket, but more square. And it has a crank at the side of it. Still an A and B button. Still a D-pad.
Yep.
There's an extra button. We don't know what it does. And there's a power button at the top.
Where's the extra button?
On the front next to the screen.
Oh, maybe it's like a home button or something?
Maybe. It's a small circular button.
And let it be known that crank is not used to power up the system, because anybody I've told about this, they're like, oh, is the crank to power it up? No, which would be pretty cool. The crank is actually used as input method in game. Yeah. We actually haven't... Even the way the games are being released for this is super weird. They showed one gameplay trailer of like a robot.
Yeah, going forwards and backwards with the
crank. So you use the crank and he goes forward and backward. It's a black and white screen.
Oh yeah.
It looks pretty crisp. It is not HD. They made that clear. I think
there's there's not a backlight even.
That's what I'm most worried about.
Yeah.
That I understand they're trying to go kind of retro with it and old school, but no backlight. seems like an issue. But if the whole thing is black with a monochrome type of look,
Right.
like not that green of like,
Yeah.
maybe it'll work.
It's funny. Just this week they released a mod for the Game Boy Color to have a backlight.
Oh, really?
Just like some independent guys just released a mod. Yeah.
I wonder if that had anything to do with the Playdate, though.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I really want it. It's 150 US.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna stop, though.
It's not competition for like the Switch or anything like that. It's a collector's item.
Mm-hmm.
It's indie developers that are making the 12 games.
Yep. The guy from Katamari Damacy is going to be creating one of the games.
I don't think I'm a fan of his, but...
I guess that was the biggest name that people are going to recognize. Like, I don't even know his name right now, but I mean the biggest game that was represented there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the games there's 12 of them that will be released within 3 months.
Yeah, every week.
Every week, yeah.
Without an announcement of what the next game will be.
Yeah. So you don't actually know what you're buying.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, that seems cool. I don't know. It's a cool, like, weird, like, indie thing.
Yeah. And that season...
It has a crank, yo.
I know. And that season of games, those 12 games, are included with your $150 purchase. They're calling it a season. And then if it does well enough, I don't know what they're expecting to sell, but if it does well enough and they can get more backers for it or more developers, they will probably do multiple seasons.
Well, here's the thing with that. They already said it's limited supply. So what they sell is what they sell.
Yeah.
So do you think they'll add another season or they'll make a number 2, a Playdate 2?
I think the manufacturing just is more costly to them.
Yeah.
I think you just make a second season.
Maybe.
Limited supply, what do you think? Like this thing's selling like 5,000 or they're making 5,000 to 10,000 of these things?
Yeah, I'd say 5,000. I'd say limited, like real limited.
Panic's not a huge company. They actually don't only focus on games. I think they deal with software as well. Like they publish, like we said, those 2 indie games, but they're usually not into gaming that much.
Yeah. And
I think they're working with another company called Teenage Engineering.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I forget what they do, but they're working with them to create the Playdate.
I know it's being assembled in Singapore.
I did not know that.
Which, so on their site you can like rotate a 3D model of the thing.
Yeah.
And just like get a real close up look at it. And it says like made in Singapore at the back. Which is it's kind of iffy. I hope no little kids have made this thing.
No, Singapore's good. If it was China, that's a different story.
There's a lot of bad stories coming out of Singapore. But
Hey, first world country.
yeah, maybe.
Shout out to Vino.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
Doctor.
PhD Vino. And we
So
are
hold on. Do you think you'll get it?
not at 150 US.
You,
200 Canadian, basically.
the
is
man
what
who has
every
rows
stupid
and
thing.
rows,
And I own that Ouya.
rows and rows of amiibo, rows and rows of games that are still sealed.
I own 3 copies of Watch Dogs. I own 3 copies of Watch Dogs. I'm the only person in this world that owns more than 1 copy of Watch Dogs.
You have a PlayStation Vita.
Hey, what's wrong with that? The Vita is a very underrated system. I want one. I'm not gonna lie. I want one. I can't pay that much for it. I can't justify it.
You own multiple Labo sets.
That I do too. Those are fun to put together, not fun to play with, and they collect dust now. But yeah, no, I do want it, but I can't justify that price. I really can't just. We'll see. At the time it comes out, I'm gonna read about it and everything.
You best get on it now. Limited quantity.
No, because you know they're gonna charge for shipping too.
I just want you to get it so I don't have to get it.
No. Someone will get it that we know.
Yeah.
Probably not, but. And we're going to drift into our last story here. And it's about Mario Kart Tour, which is the mobile game. It's always great to end with a mobile game. By Nintendo, it is by DNA?
Yeah.
The closed beta started last week to select users.
A bit of controversy.
Yeah, a bit of controversy on the game because it is very reminiscent to many other free-to-play mobile games.
But to an extent where it's like, oh no, Nintendo, what are you doing? There is loot boxes. There are game mechanics that it almost seems like it's pay to win.
Yep.
Nintendo has yet to do that. This is their first game that seems like a pay to win. Now it's still in the beta, and if they get enough bad feedback, negative feedback, I'm sure they can change it. But the rise of Nintendo mobile games makes me think that they won't. It's a huge source of revenue.
Yeah, like Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
what
Fire
is
Emblem.
Is it Heroes?
Heroes.
Yeah, I heard that actually makes a lot of money for them in the mobile space.
Actually, it's funny. This may be a good thing. I can't remember what country, but they had to take it out of a country recently. There are 2 mobile games, Animal Crossing and
Belgium.
Yes, it was Germany. Yeah. Because
the loot box laws that they brought in.
Loot boxes are illegal there because it's considered gambling. So hopefully more countries get in on this because I do not like pay to win. I hate pay to win.
Yeah.
Especially in a kart racer. Come on now.
It hurts the brand of Mario Kart in a way. I do understand that these mobile games are supposed to just get people interested in that franchise, and then you're supposed to buy a Switch to play the real experience.
I think that was the original idea, but now that they've seen it, this is a money maker.
Money, yeah.
I think they've thrown that away.
Yeah. Visually, from what I've seen, I mean, there's leaked
video.
video.
It looks good. It looks real good.
It's just a downgrade a little bit from Mario Kart 8, but it still looks solid. It seems like it's bringing back a bunch of old tracks from the 3DS games, GameCube. They haven't revealed everything. Of course, it's a closed beta. It has a bunch of characters.
They had that Dino one from the 64.
Yeah.
It looks like a solid game, and I even like the implementation of the new mechanics.
The swiping?
No, not the swiping. The certain characters have bonuses on certain courses. I even like that. So, like on like a Luigi's Haunted Mansion course, he would get access to 3 items, where everybody else would get access to 1 item. But that's where the pay to win because you don't actually know what racers you're getting in these loot boxes. It's completely random.
And also, it's a point system too.
It's a point system. There is premium currency,
gems or something.
Yeah. It's always gems.
And to do the race, you spend a heart
instead
of a fuel tank, which would make more sense. But anyways,
it's basically a fuel tank.
Yeah, it's like many other free-to-play games where you have to wait a certain amount of time to refuel to play another race, or pay the premium currency and automatically get it filled up. But it's going to have that mechanic that the first few times you do it, it's going to give it to you for free.
For free, yeah.
Just to keep people going.
And then you waste all your stuff, and then you're like, oh, shit.
I don't want to wait. Yeah. I heard even if you unlock, like through regular racing, you unlock... Because right now in the beta, you can't actually pay real money.
Yeah.
You unlock, like, a new cup with new courses. You still have to wait a certain period of time for that to actually be accessible.
Oh.
I heard that in one review. It was like 24 hours they had to wait for a cup. I'm like, what?
You know what I also heard when you're doing the gacha system? There's 3 parts you can get: your glider, your cart,
and wheels,
or character. The glider. So here's another kind of cool element. The glider dictates what kind of items you get, and the cart dictates what type of speed boost.
Okay.
And the character, gives you those bonuses on.
Yeah, that you were speaking about.
Yeah. So that's kind of weird. It's kind of cool. It's giving purpose a little bit more to the gliders, at least.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that they tied items to gliders, but they're trying something new. I don't know. They're taking a formula. They're making it their own. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. Unfortunately, here at Generic Side Quest, none of us got into the closed beta, even though it was for Android phones only, and we're both Android owners. But it's okay. Nintendo will allow you this time to pass over us.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be too long. It's still meant to come out summer. Yeah. It was originally supposed to be before March 2019, but it got delayed. And this closed beta just started. But we should be seeing it sometime this summer.
What do you think they were working on?
I don't know, because
the gacha elements.
Maybe it was just more on the system. You could only play in portrait mode as well,
which is good. I mean, that's been their MO from day one. So you could play with one hand. Mario Run, you could play with one hand. Pokemon Go, not really, but that's not DNA.
Well, Pokemon Go, you can play with one hand.
Yeah.
It's more comfortable to play with two, especially when you start spinning things.
Yeah.
I mean,
curving
your throws and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all the news from the past week and a half.
I'll still wreck motherfuckers in this new Mario Kart.
When he says wreck, he means he'll
Especially
be like third, third,
especially Ricky the Leaf. I'll
third
crush him.
best. You are listening this voice right now of Ricky the Leaf.
The Blue Shell Master. That's the only way you can win.
I can win anyway. I have
With triple red shells.
Skills on the racetrack,
No,
skills
sir.
in the bedroom. I am I don't know what that has to do with Mario Kart.
So
but
you're gonna use Pokemon Plus Plus? That's
what?
about the only skills in the bedroom you don't have.
That is true. But yeah, you know what? I don't even think it has multiplayer. We didn't talk about that.
Nah,
Game Explain
sure it's
spoke
gonna
that there
have-
is no multiplayer. But again, it's a closed beta.
That's impossible. That's impossible. They have to have multiplayer.
I don't know. They were saying that they thought it was bots, like, and it was just people's names on it. Like
Oh yeah, I'm
avatars
sure
or
for the beta.
Yeah.
But no, 100%. If it's one player, no.
something. We'll see.
And
We'll
just
see.
like online leaderboards, no. Ew.
We will see.
That's gross.
I know. Let's move on
Okay.
to our generic master debater topic. We still have to rename that
Why?
thing. I don't know. We got some angry letters last time. Shreve said we should change it. Our audio producer said, "Is audio producer an actual title?"
Yeah.
Audio producer.
Yeah. Anything is a title.
Shreve, you okay with that?
Vice audio producer.
Our topic today is the most disappointing games that we have experienced in our life.
So basically, games you were hyped for but disappointed you.
Exactly. They don't necessarily have to end up being bad games, but they were super hyped. And the reason why I came up with this topic was the whole fact that I'm super hyped for Death Stranding. But there's also a part of me that
one.
knows I can be really disappointed by that game because it's so super weird.
Well, check it out. Even Resident Evil, even Metal Gear 5, that was not a full game. People were kind of let down.
Yeah, I was partly let down by it, and that was a game I was super hyped for as well. So hype can be a double-edged sword.
Hype is always a double-edged sword. I hate hype, especially around E3.
But hype's also like a drug. It just keeps you hooked too, right?
I'm
I mean,
lying.
that's
really,
a bad thing.
I really like hype especially around E3.
So I'm going to start off
It's magic.
with one game that comes to mind whenever I think of most disappointing.
Are we going to go one for one? Or are you going
We
to
can go one for one, sure. My biggest one, I guess these aren't ranked really in any order, but the one that comes up the most when I hear this topic would be The Last Guardian. Now, this game was in development for a ridiculous amount of time. I remember when it was first introduced at E3. I am a huge Shadow of the Colossus fan. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
It was also vaporware for a long time.
Yeah, there was-
which builds hype.
Exactly, because there were so many rumors that thing was canceled, and then they had to come out and say, no, it's not canceled, we're just not working on it. Team Ico doesn't do much, to be honest.
Yeah.
In their, 15 years or whatever, they've
Maybe even
released 3
longer.
games. Yeah, because the PS2 was when they released Ico, which would have been, 2002, 2003, probably 16, 17 years. They've released 3 games in that time period. All except for Last Guardian have been critically acclaimed. I mean, Last Guardian got good reviews as well, but I wouldn't call it critically acclaimed.
I think it was.
No. I think, if you check Metacritic in terms of those 3,
Yeah.
Last Guardian's probably high 60s, low 70s.
Okay.
The other ones are 80s or 90s. Now, Shadow of the Colossus was a game I was super hyped for, and it actually it went beyond my expectations. I love that game.
Shadow?
Yeah. Beautiful atmosphere, great boss battles. That game is 16 boss battles basically.
Pretty much. Even though it was
The controls are trash at the time.
Yeah.
Triangle was your jump button. It was so broken. I mean, the re-releases, especially the PS4 one, is the way to play it. Fixed a lot of the control issues.
So yeah, this is what I figured. The Last Guardian on Metacritic, guess
68.
82.
What?
82. Yeah, that's what I figured.
That's bull. 82
Yeah.
is still not critically acclaimed,
I
but
think
82
it
is
I think it
according to Metacritic, I think it's 85 and above or 90 and above. They actually have a critically acclaimed thing.
Right.
What does Shadow of the Colossus have?
Let's look that up.
Damn,
to be
82.
fair, the user score was 8.
I'd give it a 6, to be honest. I was so disappointed by that game. That's basically where I was going with that.
But I think that's because of your hype, the hype level.
The hype level, and then the actual game is just boring. Like, the actual game is not... Sure, you do grow an attraction to your
beast.
Yeah, your cat bird thing. But other than that, it's a boring game. I didn't have a problem with the AI, like I heard in some reviews, where it just didn't listen to you. Like, I kind of like that it acted like an animal.
That's interesting because I thought that's where your frustration came from.
No, my frustration came from the fact that the game just was boring.
It didn't come together properly.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's why that was one of my most disappointing video games of all time.
So Shadow of the Colossus, which did get re-released for the PS4
and PS3.
And PS3, yeah. 91.
Well deserved. Well deserved. It deserves a 99.
User score 8, so you got the same.
That's bullshit too. But what would you say is one of your most disappointing games of all time?
This is a weird one. Okay, so this question for me is a weird question because I don't tend to fall into hype. Especially back in the day, I would go on the IGNs and the Metacritics, and I would look up reviews and be like, okay, is this for me? Is this not for me? Not many games have fallen into that category.
Yeah,
I could think of one, and this is a crazy one. This is a weird one. People are gonna be like, yo, what the heck? Mario Party 4. Yeah, for the GameCube.
Mario Party. Was that the first one for the GameCube?
The very first one for the GameCube, and my very first game for the GameCube. Because I remember having so much fun with Mario Party 1 and 2. I'm like, yo, this is going to be the exact same. Obviously, it wasn't. It was a little dumbed down. Nintendo was moving into their more family-friendly or child-friendly mode.
Yeah.
And so they took out some elements. They took out some fun mini games. The game's still good, I guess, if you look back on it now, especially compared to the Wii days, the Wii
the
Mario.
8 and 9 Mario.
Yeah. So it's a classic in that sense, but compared to the original N64 ones, it just didn't live up to what I was expecting. Looking back on it now, pretty good game. Now that we got trash Mario. Parties, but
except the Switch one.
I still like Mario Party 4 over the Switch one.
Okay.
Because it's classic Mario Party.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But it and that game sucks too. It doesn't suck, but it sucks for that game because Mario Party 5, 6, and 7 came out for the GameCube, and they innovated, so they actually were better than the 64 ones. So number 4 kind of fell in this weird, like, generational step.
Yeah,
it wanted to be the old ones, but it wanted to do something different. It didn't quite do it. So that was a very disappointing game for me.
That's interesting. I actually wasn't following Nintendo much at that time. I mean, I had played the Mario parties on the N64, but at friends' houses and stuff. I never actually owned any of them. But that's interesting to hear. Another disappointing game that I have. This one's a weird one, I guess, for me, too, would be Dewey's Adventure. Now, I don't know if anybody knows of Dewey's Adventure. It was published by Konami. I don't know if it was developed by them as well. But it was... What would you classify it was? It was for the Wii.
It's a platformer.
It's a platformer with tilt controls. So you play as a water droplet named Dewey. And you can change him into steam by heating him up, and he would evaporate into steam, or you can make him solid into ice, and it changes the gameplay the things you can do in the game.
It's basically power-ups.
Yeah,
I think in the Cloud one you could shoot lightning, maybe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And it was very much like you move the whole board kind of like you would in Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was so enthralled with the previews for this game. I still have no idea why I was, but I liked the way it looked. I was like, oh man, this is going to be so cool, and like the puzzles you can do with it.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, I was so hyped, but I only rented the game. I don't know why I didn't buy it. Thank God I didn't buy it.
Yeah,
I mean, I own it now, but I bought it used years after. Man, the game was just not good. It was not a good game. It just didn't even control well. For tilt controls on the Wii, like that's something you should get right on a tilt controller.
But it was like first generation almost.
Yeah, it was pretty early in the Wii's life cycle.
It was before Wii Motion Plus.
That is true.
I borrowed that game from you, like I think it was last year.
And did you enjoy it?
No, not at all.
There we go.
But I didn't have expectations.
Yeah, you had no hype for it, so you probably enjoyed it more than I did.
So yeah, even when that game got announced, it didn't look. I mean, the concept was cool, but I was not hyped. It looked a lot like Elebits and one of those games, which those were not great.
Elebits is another disappointing one. I won't get into it, but it's almost on the same level.
Right. Okay, that was a good one.
Thank you. What's another one you got there?
Again, so this might actually be my last one because for the most part, I play games that I like. Inside.
Oh my goodness! Inside from the creators of Limbo.
Didn't that
Playdead?
Yeah,
Playdead Studios.
Wasn't it on some people's like Game of the Year or something?
Yep. I don't know if it was IGN, but someone gave it like a 10 out of 10.
Insane. I think it was IGN.
It might have been.
Insane. That game is hot trash. I
don't think it's as bad as you make it out to be, but definitely hype-wise, it does not deserve the praise that it gets.
So
I agree with you.
I told Ricky to leave to download it. I told him about all the great reviews it's getting. Yo, game of the year, and it's an indie game, and like they were kind of established with that type of game.
Yeah, and Limbo was a lot of fun, even though there's not much to Limbo in terms of actual gameplay.
This game is exactly Limbo. You just walk straight.
But it looks a little bit better. It has, I think, a cooler aesthetic.
I guess it's nothing to write home about. It's an indie game. It's your prototypical indie game, I would say.
Yeah.
So you can get to the end of the game in like an hour or two.
Yeah, it's short. It's relatively short.
You can actually finish the game. So there are these, I guess, secrets to find to have like a proper ending, but you can get to the game without the secrets. The secrets are slightly challenging.
Yeah. Like collectibles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to unlock these vaults, and there's things chasing you. The whole game, things are chasing you. The end of the game is so weird.
That's what kills me. This might be a spoiler for anybody that wants to play Inside, so if you've lasted this long and don't want to know about Inside,
fuck that game.
I just remember I had downloaded it, and then Emriel was playing it. I had passed out, or I went to bed. I woke up, and the man was moving as a blob in the game. Yeah. But the blob was a bunch of people because there was arms and stuff trying to burst out of the blob. I was like, what the hell was going on? And it's some weird experiment, or you're in some lab.
So we discover this this lab, and like we're trying to get out of it, and it's actually going along. It's at this point the game's actually going along. It's like, okay, we're in this lab, we're learning stuff. And he gets cornered, and he has to jump through glass. But when he jumps through the glass, he like merges with the blob. I'm like, oh shit! And then you are the blob. Yeah, I don't know. It was a letdown. It
was a letdown because people spoke about that in reviews about like the big twist or what happens. Like, you won't believe it. Of course we won't believe it. It was so ridiculous. Doesn't mean it's good.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that was a major letdown.
That's good. I mean, there's many others. We can go on forever. I'm just gonna list just a few. We don't have to go through them. But MGS2 will always be one of my earliest letdowns, just because I loved MGS1 so much. MGS2 is still, that's Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty. Still an amazing game. Again, Hideo Kojima, you are God. I will have your babies.
No.
If it was possible. But according to Death Stranding, maybe I could have your pod baby. The game was just a letdown because of how hyped, and like the hype really destroyed that game for me. But it was still an amazing game. It looked amazing on the PS2. I'm using amazing for everything. Amazing. God of War Ascension was a letdown.
Is that the one for the PSP?
No, PS3. It was after God of War 3. It was already God of War fatigue happened by that time.
Yeah.
And then there was that big delay until God of War for the PS4 came out. It pretty much, it wasn't a bad game, but it was just more of the same, and it didn't do anything different.
Gotcha.
And by that time, you're like, okay, there's the PSP games already. There's 2 of them. There's 3 already on the PS3. Then this one.
Right.
So, yeah, not a bad game, but just disappointing. And finally, Need for Speed The Run. I love the Need for Speed games, even though they don't do much. And I was hyped for Need for Speed The Run because there was going to be these cool out-of-car sequences, which ended up just being glorified QuickTime events. The graphic, like, the engine was, I think, the Frostbite engine. Like, it looked really sick, but the racing just felt crappy. The story was even bad in Need for Speed. Like a level of bad. Like, Need for Speed isn't really meant to have a great story, but it wasn't even good there. Yeah, just a disappointing Need for Speed game, but, I mean, when you like Need for Speed, you're prepared to be disappointed. I don't know if there's any you want to throw out before we end this off.
Not really. I was gonna say NBA Streets Volume 3. Because I really liked Volume 2. But I could appreciate what they tried to do with Volume 3. I wasn't hugely disappointed in it. I didn't like it as much as 2, but I wasn't hugely disappointed.
What did you play it on, the GameCube?
GameCube, yeah.
Did that feature Mario,
Peach, and Luigi.
I remember seeing it because it's actually on the cover of the game that it was. Yeah. I didn't know if it was 2 or 3. Yeah, that's cool.
But that gives me an idea for next week. For our Master Debaters topic. Games that surprised you. That you
I'm
weren't.
gonna write that down.
Kind of underrated titles that blew you away. I have some ideas for that already.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
And please let us know below what are some of the most disappointing games that you've
experienced.
Yeah.
Specifically because of hype, I guess.
Yeah. Or just your own personal, because you like the series and then that game came. Because God of War Ascension wasn't hyped up because of, like, media wasn't saying, oh, it's the next God of War game.
Yeah.
No, I was just super hyped for it because 3 was amazing.
Right. You know, that was the 7th game in the series by that point.
I think they even had a mobile game, if I'm not mistaken.
God of War.
Yeah. Yeah, it was too much, and it almost killed the series, but then the PS4 one came out, and talk about something that lived up to the hype and then some.
Yeah.
But I do have a cool God of War statue that's actually right behind me while we are recording. Kratos statue, which is actually pretty cool, and I have the steelbook for Ascension, so at least it's not all bad. But I think that's it for our generic Master Debater topic, and that pretty much is it for the show. What do you have planned for this week, or gaming wise? What are you expecting?
Okay, so I still have the Wii U, and after SteamWorld Dig. I downloaded SteamWorld Dig and SteamWorld Heist at the same time because they were on sale.
Are they still on sale? No, I don't think they're still on sale.
Probably not. But I think I'm going to grow my collection a bit more of Wii U indie games because I remember there were a few. There was a little push about in the middle towards the end for exclusive Wii U indie games because there was no third parties on the Wii U.
Yeah.
So they had to go to indies. I think I'm going to grow my collection a little bit more and finally start on SteamWorld Heist properly. I don't have it in me right now to continue the Mario games for some reason.
Yeah.
So it's
more of a time sink too.
Yeah. So I'll probably stick with the smaller experiences for now.
Sounds good.
How about you?
I'm going to continue playing Team Sonic Racing until I get bored of that. I was going to go for the Platinum, but the challenges are just way too difficult and frustrating. So I'm just going to play the single player all the way through and probably do some multiplayer. And then hoping to jump into Spyro to work on Platinums there.
Yeah. You know what you haven't mentioned?
What?
And I should have probably mentioned this too. Your Mario Kart competition.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thank you for bringing that up. I run a Mario Kart time trial competition. Started with the first week of 2019. Basically, every week it's a new track until we do all 48 tracks. So it's 48 weeks, basically. And I give points for where you finish on that week. So the best time gets the most points.
And what's going to happen at the end?
At the end, we will have a tournament for the top 16 players. They will be in the Tournament of Speed. And basically, we will fight for, or race for, a championship belt, a custom championship belt, which I have to get working on. So thank you for letting me for informing me of that, because that's coming up quickly. We're already halfway through the year. We've done about 21 of these tracks. I am number 1. Just remember that.
Yeah, but he's also played every week.
Yes.
And he owns the game. And
yes, there's lots of controversies.
He stacks the deck.
Anyways, if you want to submit a time, you probably can. If I don't know you, you probably can't. But I will be playing Mario Kart, as always, every week, putting in time trials. And I still play my Switch every week, too.
Yeah.
The Rayman challenges I'm doing every day. Some Pokemon Let's Go I still play. Yeah. Tetris 99 is still as addictive as it always was. It's just getting harder.
You know what I was into for a while?
What?
Oh, does that count as a video game? Because I played it on my phone.
What?
Chess. I have this chess app. I really got into it, and I just discovered it had 2 players, and I was actually playing with a friend. And yeah.
Yeah, no, that counts. I mean, I play Wordscapes on my phone.
Right.
Just kind of embarrassing to say out loud, but we are hoping to get back to you by the end of next week with our E3 predictions.
Oh, okay.
We will also cover what happens in the Pokemon Direct. But yeah, we'll do a E3 predictions by the end of next week, because then E3 starts right after that.
Yeah.
And we'll see how close we are with our predictions after that.
Yes, sir.
But that's going to be it for this generic transmission on... I don't think we mentioned the date, actually. It is... Yes, confirmed. It is May the 29th. Probably when it's going up, it might be May the 30th. But thank you all for listening. And we will see you on the next one.
On another generic side quest.